Hello my friends, this is Sylvie Curry, Lady of Q, and I am in my kitchen today. It's a cold day outside, well cold for California, Southern California, but on cold days like this, I always have a taste for something that's warming inside. And today, that's going to be some tomato soup. I'm going to make this a little unconventional way. I'm going to roast or grill the tomatoes on my Weber kettle. It's going to be indirect, they'll be in a pan, and I'll show you a little bit of that setup later on. I've got a lot of fresh tomatoes, I've got onion, I've got garlic, all sorts of seasoning and spices, and we're going to put this baby together today. Here I have the ingredients that I'm going to use today in this tomato soup. I've got some vine ripened tomatoes, and I think I have here 3, 6, 12, 15 tomatoes. I've also have a whole onion, which I'm going to dice up. I've got olive oil, and the amount that I'm going to be using of that is variable because I'm going to use it to first coat the tomatoes when I put them on the grill, and then later on when I go through the processing of the soup later on to eat. I also have some chicken stock, or chicken broth, which I made from Better Than Bouillon. And all I did was take 2 teaspoons of Better Than Bouillon and dilute that in some water, 2 cups of water. Some of the other ingredients include a scallion, which I'm going to chop up. I've got about 6 to 8 garlic pieces, and I really should call this a roasted tomato and garlic soup because of the amount of garlic I have, but I love it. In addition, I have a tablespoon of sugar. I have 2 teaspoons of salt, and the amount that I use of that is going to vary based upon taste. Here I have about a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. I have some fresh thyme, which I'm going to use when I do the roasting or grilling the tomatoes on the grill. I've got some Worcestershire sauce, and that's about a tablespoon. I have some dried basil, only because I didn't have any fresh basil, but that will work. This is about a tablespoon of dried basil. I have oregano. This is about a teaspoon of oregano. And I've got some chili oil. And this chili oil was made for me by a friend. And it has red pepper flakes in it and some other ingredients, which I don't know. She just handed me the jar, and it's very yummy. So I'm going to use that in place of something like cayenne or in place of something like red pepper flakes. Tomato soup is usually thought of as a winter type soup because of its comforting effect and warmness. However, think about it, the best tomatoes are during the summer, vine ripened outside, not the ones that you buy in the grocery store. However, during the summer, you probably don't want tomato soup. It's usually probably too hot. But anyway, these vine ripened ones from the grocery store are going to have to do. And we'll season them up with all this stuff and make them taste really good. This is the pan I'm going to use on the grill to roast these tomatoes. And I would prefer to use something like cast iron, but the problem with cast iron and tomatoes is because they're so acidic, it may adversely affect your cast iron cookware. So I'm going to use this pan. I've got the olive oil already in here, and I'm just going to cut up everything and put it in there with the olive oil. We start off by, I remove the stems, and I'm going to cut the tomatoes in half, and I'm going to remove that little core that's there. And we'll just put them in the pan. I've got them all peeled. Now, one of the questions you might ask is, does it matter if they're cut side up or cut side down? For the way that I'm going to be doing this, it doesn't matter because I will probably be going to the grill and rotating it up and down, so that doesn't matter. But it does matter that I do get some of that olive oil all over these tomatoes. And I'm just going to go through and let them swim around in that olive oil just a little bit. Got my onion, and I'm going to just dice it up. Doesn't have to be cute because it's going to get mixed and blended. But cutting it into smaller pieces just makes it easier when I go through that process. And we'll just take these onions and just dab them all over these tomatoes. I'm turning these over in the first go round because I'm going to be salting them and putting some of the herbs on, and I want it to be on the cut side in order for it to better flavor these tomatoes. Next, I'm going to take some of that fresh thyme and just sort of place it all around. And I've got the garlic, and that garlic's going to roast in here also, and it's going to get nice and soft, and it'll get blended in the soup. I'm going to take some of the salt and just salt it around. Not using all of it. It's probably about a half a teaspoon. Then I'll take a little bit of the pepper also, not much. I don't want that pepper to burn on there. Now we're ready to go on the grill so we can get nice and roasted. The other ingredients that I have will be added later on after this is roasted and got soft and we get ready to blend it. This is about 45 minutes in. I'm just going to get ready to rotate the tray. I'm also turning over the tomatoes to skin side up. Tomatoes are done. Now I'm getting ready to put them in the Vitamix and get it all blended up and nice and smooth. Before I do that, I am going to remove the stems from the thyme and get this tomato soup going. And I'm going to put in the whole tomatoes, including the skin, and we'll let the powers of the Vitamix get this nice and smooth. Oh, this smells yummy. Garlicky. I forgot to mention that while I had it on the grill, roasting, I did have a piece of apple wood as a smoke source. So it's just going to be a hint of that apple wood smoke flavor in this. And we get all those juices, the roasted garlic and onion. I've got all the tomatoes, the garlic, and the onions in here. I'm going to first start off blending it. Now I'm going to add some of the ingredients that we saw before. We'll start off with the sugar. And that sugar just balances out the acid in that tomato. This is the Worcestershire sauce, basil, oregano, and this is the chili oil. The amount of chili oil you use is dependent upon how much heat that you want. I'm going to put in the balance of the black pepper, and I'm going to hold off on the salt until I blend it again and we taste, because we're going to season with the salt to taste. Okay, I've got it all blended up, and we're still not done with this yet, because remember, we still have the chicken stock that I need to put in here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it in a pot. We're going to put it on the stove top, and we're going to cook it for maybe about 15 minutes or so, just to get all those seasonings and things in there to meld. And then we'll do another tasting. We'll see how thick it is, and we'll add the chicken broth as needed, in addition to the olive oil. I'm going to take my tomato soup. We're going to pour it in this pot. And we're going to take it to the stove top. We're going to let it simmer for a little bit. And then we'll do another taste test, see how much of the chicken broth we need to add, how much more salt we need to add, and a little bit more olive oil for mouthfeel. Tomato soup has been simmering for a few minutes. And I'm going to add some of the chicken broth. I already added some off video, but I'm going to add a little bit more. And I'm also going to add a little dollop of olive oil. Our roasted tomato soup, roasted tomato and garlic soup is done. And I'm going to dish it up. Got a little bowl here. Nice consistency. Tastes good. You know I've already tasted it. I've got some Parmesan cheese here. I'm gonna just sprinkle on top for a little garnish. You can also put things in here like cream cheese, sour cream, yogurt, just to give it an additional creaminess. Now that's ready to eat. Now you know what you have to have with tomato soup? Not complete unless you have grilled cheese. This is a brie, prosciutto, and apple jelly grilled cheese. I'm going to slice that up, and we're going to serve it, and that's dinner tonight. Let's do our taste. I'm going to start with the tomato soup. I love that. That is really, really good. Really, truly good. Then we've got to have our grilled cheese. Let's take a bite. What I really like about that is the sweetness that comes off from the apple jelly with that brie and prosciutto, just a match made in heaven. Then you pair that with tomato soup. Which we roasted in the Weber kettle with a little bit of apple wood, so they got a little bit of smoky on it. And we took that baby and we blended it, added a few more things to it, and folks, right here is heaven. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it, I enjoyed eating it, and I'm gonna go finish it. Take care, bye-bye.